Welcome to this News 9 special with me, Nabila. Well, if you do love your extra large portion size of fries, then you may want to think twice now, because we hear that the central government is now going to soon regulate the portion sizes served at restaurants. Now, they will decide how much you eat. Listen in.
In an attempt to curb wastage in the form of food leftovers, the centre is now planning to fix portion sizes of dishes served by hotels and restaurants. Yes, the government will now decide how much food a restaurant will serve you. Union Food Minister Ram Vilas Paswan confirmed that his ministry is already working on the modalities. He said that the hospitality industry would be asked whether it can do it voluntarily or if they needed the government to make legal provisions for it. Government does not want to fix the quantum of food that needs to be served by hotels and restaurants. We are just asking them to specify how many chapatis or idlis or chicken pieces you will serve in a plate. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has raised the concern and is now mulling for restaurants to declare their portion size on the menu cards. If a person can eat only 2 prawns, why should he or she be served 6? If a person eats 2 idlis, why serve 4? It's wastage of food and also money people pay for something that they don't eat. We are calling a meeting of stakeholders. The PM is concerned about food wastage and we are going to issue instructions to these hotels. To determine what portion size fits which dish, the ministry is preparing a questionnaire for hotels and restaurants. The ministry mentioned that the instructions on food portions will be applicable only to standard hotels and not dhabas that usually serve thalis. When and how will the government implement this? This still remains uncertain. A News 9 report.
Well, you heard that. Do you really think that the government's regulations on food portions will indeed curb wastage of food? How do you feel if the portion of food you've been served at restaurants and hotels now are reduced in size? Share your views with us on News 9. Call us on 080-223-603-0203. WhatsApp us on the given numbers. To talk to us more on that, we have our food specialist, Dr. Raghu, joining us, as well as Raj Sethi and a few more restaurant owners. Dr. Raghu, if you can tell us your take on this regulating portion sizes. It sounds good to us, but I don't know how much of it can be really implemented, and more of it somehow feel like it's interfering with what I eat.
The very thought is povertarian, and also you can think it only reminds me of erstwhile USSR, where they had fixed the size of the bread across the country.
Okay.
And normally they say in Singapore, which is an authoritarian regime and the government monitors everything, no?
Okay.
They say you can't be private even in the toilet. So this is more of a, so the government, it's between, see what I'm today, it's a buffet system. Real loss and waste of food in the country is that the government of India doesn't have godown for storing food. 13 million tons of food is stored in the open, and rats and rodents eat it, and you don't have a cold storage facility for vegetables, fruits, infrastructure, lack of infrastructure for food storage and transport is a real problem. Don't lay your hand into the plates of the people as to how I know what to order, depending on how hungry I am, where I've skipped a meal, how I eat, what I eat. It's between the server and the eater. Don't interfere here. This is too much of a. Modi always said that the minimum government and maximum governance. This is maximum government and minimum government. Interfering too much. They say a government or a religion which controls all the ores and pores of people. That's the authoritarian regime. Don't control the orality. Forget it. You see where you can really, what is a loss? See, you see, there is a 2 ways of food wastage. It's rather wastage. You see, the loss is when the food is grown in the field, doesn't reach the godown. That is the loss. Then the waste is when you prepare food and you waste it. See, the only way you can build a culture you know, through education, through information, and you can build a culture where you know you don't feel like wasting food. You feel your resources very optimally, and they're very, you know, the food is of course rural soil, rural sweat, and all that. But you cannot regiment, you cannot control this. This cannot see. They say if you want a sheer real civil society, you have to put everybody behind bars.
Including our
We'll have a clean society.
You said, when you said everybody behind bars, it means everybody.
Everybody.
Everybody. Yeah,
we'll
everybody.
Have clean road.
Yeah, we'll have everything clean. So you're saying this is too much. More government, less governance.
To do.
More government, less governance.
Yeah.
Well, for a lot of people have, Twitter has gone berserk. A lot of tweets mocking at this intention. While the intention is clean, the intention is good. You want to save, you know, there's that much wastage happening. But like you said, the issue is much bigger and it's elsewhere, not here.
If there are potholes in the road, you can't control the speed of the vehicle.
Yeah. Okay. We have a couple of restaurant owners joining us as well. We have Raj Setia. We have Chef Nimish Bhatia, a senior chef, a top chef in Bengaluru City. We have Susmita, also a restaurant owner, joining us. Raj, your take on... now you have to declare, which if for all this this rule is implemented, then you'll have to declare your portion size on the menu cards. So this is how much I'm going to be. There's one plate of I don't know, maybe idli that you would serve. You have to write my idli plate serves 3 or serves 4, all of that. A lot of restaurants actually already do it. It's not that, but now it's going to be more mandatory.
Let's put it this way, that if it is by piece, you can control it. But how can you measure the size? Every human being cooks in a different way.
Correct.
The portion size varies.
Correct.
And you can't say, okay, I only have 100 grams of it. Are you going to weigh 100 grams and then give it to the serving? You can't do that. It's not practical. So if you're talking about practicality, I personally believe that this is utter nonsense. I'm sorry to use the word, but then the reality is this does not make sense.
It doesn't make sense.
It does not make sense at all.
But quite a few restaurant owners mentioned that, I think this is a good move, because we any which ways handle it by ourselves. But now that the government regulates it, it makes us a little more conscious. Your take on that?
See, personally, it is individual's choice.
Okay.
If I want to order 4 plates and we are just 3 of us, it's my choice whether I want to finish 4 or whether I want to take up home or whether I doggy bag it and throw it on the road. It's not the person. It's how can you say this is what I will serve you, and then you are going to also control the price point of the people.
No, but what actually I can't fathom about this particular issue or this rule here is the fact that it clearly states top end, high end, star hotels and restaurants, which either way serve only little. Like the portion size is really small. Chef, you could tell us, you're a star chef, a Michelin chef rather.
Right? I believe it is all preconceived notions. There is somebody who's thought that hotels waste a lot of food, so it is a preconceived notion, and that's where. But why would?
But that's trivial, because we talk about high-end weddings, we're talking about events, we're talking about public functions, organized by politicians itself. Leave alone, the general public, whether that much wastage of food that's happening. So the issue here is much larger and elsewhere.
Absolutely.
Now, coming to the restaurant industry, the hotel industry, and asking them declare your portion size is kind of.
It is a joke.
A joke.
It cannot be. It is a preconceived notion that probably they think that they are all after hotels and restaurants now. They probably think that chicken and vegetable go on one side and dollars or rupees comes this side. That's not right. Or we waste food. Okay, controlling waste food is a good idea, and it's a good thought.
That's a good deed, of course, and also he said there are lakhs of people who are dying of hunger.
Absolutely.
Is there a link? Is there a link here at all?
I don't think so. There's
no link
because
at all.
When there is a restaurant or a hotel or any eatery who's serving food, they are commercial eateries. They have to be viable. They have to only make money when they don't waste food. So when you're talking about an a la carte, a menu thing which is done there, why would they serve more which people cannot? Rather, the competition today is not between good and bad, it is between good and good. So everybody needs a survival, and when they need a survival, they would only serve the right portion sizes. And if in case there is something which is left in the on the plate, on the table. Today the guest is very smart. They would ask you to,
Pack it up.
to them.
100%. I'm telling you, when I go with my family to get order, when I'm eating something, even if I've left one roti and a little bit of gravy, I'd still pack that up, because there are people at my house, my cook herself, who's tired of her own food, will eat another chef's food. She'd enjoy it, and she wouldn't mind if we've eaten off the same basket of rotis or the same bowl of gravy.
Absolutely. This is not only here. This is all over the world. I've seen from last 30 years across the world. And nobody in a restaurant per se waste food. It is probably in case of marriages, in case of bigger functions, where a customer or a diner is not paying for his own plate, where there's umpty options available in that buffet. There are chances, but if you see most, when you're talking about bigger hotels and luxury dining spaces, they do a lot of charity also. If the food is saved, they send it to these orphanages and things like that. So nobody
we
wants
saw
to
the
waste
Oscars.
food.
It was amazing that Frida Pinto actually took up the initiative. Whatever leftovers at the Oscars, she distributed to that many poor families.
That's bingo. That's what it should
that's
be.
That's how it's done. So maybe regulating that industry altogether, or events or marriages, or how many people are coming against how much food is going to be served, or how much is going to be what that is ordered. That could be regulated.
That could be regulated.
What we need is RSVP when we have these kind of functions, which is missing in India.
Absolutely, you're right.
Which is missing in India, where we confirm that
First of all, RSVP.
Yeah.
What is RSVP? Let's.
RSVP it's a French term,
and
in our lay language it is like confirming whether you're coming or not coming.
Please revert.
Please revert.
Yeah.
So here we don't value that. We just accept the card or invite and we just forget about it. We don't even come forward and say, okay, I am attending this program, or
and I'm bringing a family member, +1, +2. It makes it easier for the organizers to arrange food and not go excess.
Correct.
Or not.
Correct.
You don't fall short either.
I've been to a really good wedding. You were talking about politicians' wedding, so I feel the need to mention it here. So one of my friends, Soumya Reddy, when she had her wedding, she's a very environmentally friendly person.
Yeah, I know, she served vegan food for that 30,000 people.
In the wedding, yeah, it's such a huge wedding, right? So in the wedding, everywhere there were boards saying, in English, in Kannada, it says, eat as much as you like, but take only what you will eat.
Yeah.
And there were people consciously, like people there, like in everywhere you look, it brings to your attention that don't waste food. Because like in a restaurant, like everybody is saying, we can pack up the food and go. Nobody's going to do that at a wedding. So then don't waste food. So consciously doing that. So expecting, so the idea of this whole thing is, again, it comes from a good place, because yes, there's so much of food wastage, there's so much of so many people starving. Probably the government's efforts as well as restaurant industry's efforts are better spent in seeing how this wasted food, as it is, as he was saying, we don't want to waste food because that's not practical for us.
Correct.
Right? But any excess food that's left over, how it can be diverted to people who need that food. Making rules for that, that would be good. Now, Rotary has this concept callalled kindness fridge.
Right.
There are a few restaurants.
A couple of restaurants I saw, they kept refrigerated outside and whatever is not used or wasted, they pack it up neatly and they put it outside in the refrigerator. Anybody walking by hungry can open the refrigerator.
So it would be wonderful if the government can sponsor that kind of, like push people to install those kind of things. So what do you do with the excess food? Because you cannot,
I'm sorry, I defer to agree on this, because in India, even if you do that, there are more than enough people who would not value that.
But there are more than enough
I
people.
think we should attempt at it.
Attempt it
whether they value it or not, I think when we start creating awareness and
so
we
are going
really
to
keep that in
getting,
place, people will learn to value it. And then when we start shaming such people who don't value it, that's when they come around.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So see,
awareness is the right thing.
Absolutely. Like she said, boards at Soumya, at her
compliance
friends.
and awareness.
Correct.
You see, they're talking big about Swachh Bharat now. They're shaming people who do whatever in television, in advertisements and things like that. And if you do the same thing with people who waste food, and if they're caught or they've been brought to notice or brought to light, whatever, and those awarenesses are in abundance, then I think, because it's not about food or in any commercial establishment wants to waste it. It's about whims and fancies of people.
Correct.
I'm doing a wedding and there should be 10,000 things available in that wedding.
Yes.
Now, how many people are eating that 10,000 things?
Right.
Now, it's not the hotel, restaurant or the eatery who's doing that.
Yeah.
It's the person whose whims and fancies, his nose becomes longer by that.
Yeah.
She said one person who's doing that. Great, we need many such persons who do that.
No, but
And
like she said, her friend's wedding, there were boards all over. And if
Fantastic.
I saw, and I'm telling you, I'm quite an eater. And if I see buffet, especially, I want everything on my plate. And anybody who knows me who's watching this will know what I mean. I want everything on my plate. And see there, my panel director says we know. I eat everything, right? But I might not eat the whole of it. Like even if I'm eating,
Absolutely.
probably trying 5 different desserts, I'll eat half of each of it. But I don't know who to share it with at that point in time. But then if I'm looking at a board like that, I'm obviously embarrassed. I don't want people looking at me overloading my plate. And therefore I'll take, okay fine, I can skip the laddu today. I'll eat just the jamun, something that I like more.
In right now, people think that if you have things in excess, it's a matter of pride, like he said, right? So let's create a sense of pride in not wasting, in being more, sharing food, not wasted. Let's create a sense of pride there.
Yeah.
Then people should think, okay, so this is awesome when I'm not wasting food. That is like
Even better.
even better.
When you say it's a form of pride to have like an array of choices.
Yeah.
Indeed, even till today, like I think at big events, big functions, family functions particularly, they want the best of everything in their buffet for all of you to be so happy while walking out of the house. The big smile, you've eaten enough. But how do you manage? Fine, have that buffet, have the best of it. But how do you manage the leftovers? That is more important. Taking it and just dumping it into the bin, no matter how many initiatives that the government would come up, you don't know what's happening behind closed doors, right?
I don't think so. Any commercial establishment
will
would like
do that.
to waste
Will
food.
do that because, like
They
you
all-
said, it's
yes.
money spent. It's wastage
Absolutely.
of money, not food. More money for them.
Correct.
Right. We'll come back to you after a quick break. We'll be right back. Stay tuned.
Inspired by styles that define you. Presenting the Tata Tigor Style Bag. Born of style.
Visit Times Asia Jewels Fair, India's best jewelry exhibition between 12th April and 14th April and witness the latest trends in jewelry only at the Ritz-Carlton, Bangalore. Don't miss. Be there.
New Baldwin International Residential School with well-planned and maintained campus spread over 25 acres. Swimming pool, yoga, meditation, horse riding, outdoor and indoor sports activities with specialized coaches. Separate hostels for boys and girls with hygienic environment and food. We offer ICSE, CBSE and IGCSE syllabus from 1st to 10th standard. The PU College provides specialized coaching for PUC and PU Plus competitive courses. For admissions, visit us today, empowering the next generation.
Come to Lalita Jewellery. Select any ornament and you take the estimate from us. With this, compare price in 4-5 showrooms. Lalita Jewellery or any other showroom, wherever you get the best price, you buy from there.
It's the clash of titans at Wankhede. Defending champs Hyderabad take on Mumbai in their backyard. Can Rohit Sami stop Warner's Mavericks' unbeaten run? Slam bang 10.
Welcome back. Well, we also have T.N. Venkata Reddy joining us, a professor with GKVK who's done proper research on the amount of food that is wasted at events, Indian marriages in Karnataka alone, sir?
In Bangalore City.
In Bangalore City. All right. It will be really interested to hear a word on that. What does your stats say?
We have surveyed, got the information from 400 chowltries, Kalyan Mandpas in Bangalore City.
Okay.
We interviewed the parents of the marriage celebrators,
okay,
cooks, and also the guests. We collected the photos of food wastage, and on an average, 18 to 20% of the food prepared and not served, 10% prepared, served, not eaten in the plate. Almost 30% of the food is wasted in the Kalyan Mantapas.
Across 400 Kalyana Mantapas in Bengaluru city alone that you checked, you're saying a general census gives you a figure of 30% of food wastage.
Food wastage, and in monetary terms, for annum, in Bangalore city alone, if you multiply to all such functions, it comes to 400 crores worth of food is wasted in Bangalore city alone. It is
That's huge.
Crime. And forget about the wastage in the supply chain and value chain. 1 lakh crores worth of food is wasted in the supply chain from the farmer's field before it comes to the consumer's plate.
Correct.
In the kitchen.
Correct.
After that, when the food items are served, not served, put together, you can multiply it to the whole country. And all birthdays, marriages, functions. The only statistician can imagine, not so much we are wasted. We are wasting our sweat of the farmers at the cost of the poor who are going without food to the bed, and the precious water we are wasting, draining the food.
To grow those crops.
To grow those foods. So, in the supply chain, we are wasting 1 lakh crores. Equivalent amount we are wasting after food is cooked and prepared, madam.
It really hurts my heart right now. You're saying how many people die without food or out of starvation, and like everybody said here, is the restaurant industry the target here, or the supply industry altogether? That's where the actual food wastage is happening there, and not here. Maybe the target is wrong altogether. Would you agree?
In this total supply chain, all stakeholders, including the godowns, warehouses, the private houses, total chain, only we are looking at the restaurants, hotels, hostels, marriage halls, where the food is ready to cook or ready to eat. Before that, in the supply chain, it is so much is wasted, and it is estimated 1 lakh crores, equivalent to Karnataka budget per annum, almost nearing to that. Whole country is wasting, and we are so it is.
And you're talking about Karnataka alone, Bengaluru alone, 400 crores you said. Imagine if we really have to.
It's 400 crores in Bangalore city alone. So we can imagine just whatever our shortage is our wastage. If we can avoid our wastage, we can completely wipe out our shortage and feed everybody nutritional security, food security, social security, free rice, everything can be avoided.
Everything can be provided.
Yes, madam.
So then in that case, you're saying it's such a grave issue here, it's such a big problem. Is the government targeting the right industry then? Restaurant, hotels declaring their portion size only to curb food wastage. That's what
no law can. So it leads to further harassing the hosts. They should be awakened we should awake and create that awareness among the public through media like you. This is the best initiative. We cannot say so many guest control act, this act, that act is there. Even at my home we will waste. So I should have that social responsibility rather than rule. There are so many rules in this country which are hardly implemented. Instead of resorting to the rules and regulations, create that awareness like Girl Child or Swachh Bharat. Now some word needs to be coined for this not to waste the food.
Let's put it this way.
We are talking about statistics.
Discipline is most important. I personally feel you have to discipline yourself. In our house also, we waste food. Suppose you have no plans of going out for a restaurant or eating out, but you have already prepared food. So you stepped out in the evening. What about that food? How many % of people consume the food the following day?
A lot of times, almost every other day, especially youngsters, college-going students, they love eating outside, and the parents still make it at home because they, by
Precisely.
chance, also the child comes home shouldn't be hungry.
Precisely.
So might as well make that food, keep that food for the child, but ultimately child eats from outside and comes home. What do you do with that food? So I think it's
wasted in houses.
Also,
he's
you're
talking
saying-
about statistics.
No, I'm saying
about
even
food chain.
self-awareness for us at
Now,
home itself.
After this Food Safety Act coming in, it's about 7-8
No, but
years
let me
down
tell
the
you
line.
where the food wastage
So-
happens at home. You're saying generally people don't waste. Maybe so. Even we try our best not to waste all of that, which is why there's a refrigerator. You keep the food in the refrigerator. 2 days. Your food now. So next morning you don't want to eat the same thing that's there in the
don't want to eat it.
refrigerator. You
But
want to
how
cook,
many
but
times
you
do you do
assume.
that in your house? You throw in a garbage.
That's
Very
what.
less.
But after the third day, you finally feel like the food is not fit to eat, and then you have no choice because
We're
it's smelly
talking
and you have
about
to dump
an
it in the
urban
garbage.
society in Bangalore.
Yes.
Where the larger families have become nuclear families. There is husband, wife, and a small kid. Generally, a lot of population between 28 and 38,
Yeah.
or 28 to 40, where husband, wives, one dependent or two dependents are there in Bangalore, and the wife does not want to cook more than 2 days, right?
Yeah.
5 days is eating out. Sometimes it's a small burger
Yeah.
joint, sometimes it's a chaat, sometimes a fine dining restaurant,
Yeah.
or whatever. So that food which is prepared in house is more or less. And now I talk about the supply chain, what you're talking about. The supply chain is getting better. If you see from last 5 years to compare to the last 5 years prior to that, the compliance which has come after Food Safety Act in the whole chain, there are people who treat these vegetables, the groceries, the dairy products, which are becoming more commercial in segment. They come up with a shelf life. And those packaged things are reduced. If I'd read it some time back, it is reduced to about 28-29%. You are in statistics, you would know better.
Much more than that.
Yeah.
And in fact,
so that's where it is a
modern
control. It
retail
is seeing. The further more control will come, the more awareness to that will
Food Safety
come
and
into it.
Standards Act doesn't speak of food wastage. Food Safety and Standards Act 2006 never attempted towards the avoiding of the food. It's purely about the safety of the food.
Correct. How is the safety? The safety talks about biological safety, chemical safety, and in general other safety. So when biological safety means any food which is getting rotten,
Right.
you don't take it.
Yeah.
So the farmer produces it, and he ensures that it is kept properly and it reaches the supermarket, metros of the world, and where not. And similarly, the grocery, when they produce lentils, they produce
Yeah.
flour, potatoes, they produce in packets.
Yeah.
Things are getting better.
Yeah.
If you compare these 5 years to the previous 5 years and coming 5 years, things are getting better. Everybody wants to be associated with HACCP or ISO or Indian Food Safety Act.
So if you're saying
which
if
is-
things are getting better, then targeting a restaurant or the industry for top star hotels, declaring their
It's not
portion
good.
sizes, is any solution there?
Basically,
Not
the
at all.
solution
All right,
is
so
only
we'll come back to a
awareness.
little more on that on a quick note. A small break right there. Stay tuned.
पवित्र गोमूत्र एवं एंटीबैक्टीरियल जड़ी बूटियों से निर्मित पतंजलि गोनाइल फ्लोर क्लीनर अपनाइए और गौ माता को कत्लखानों में जाने से बचाइए।
मैडम टमाटर को एक्सरे की नजर से देखती हैं। लिपस्टिक के एक शेड के लिए 20 शेड्स ट्राई करती हैं। फर्श के हर इंच का इंस्पेक्शन करती हैं।
मैडम, एक बात पूछूं आपसे? आप हर चीज में डिटेल ढूंढते हो, तो फिर एंटरटेनमेंट में क्यों नहीं?
असली HD चैनल्स देखने के लिए बुक अ न्यू वीडियोकॉन D2H HD कनेक्शन एट जस्ट ₹1820। वीडियोकॉन D2H।
It's a new day. It's a new me. Blue skies is all I see. The moment I saw you.
For the best new version of you, presenting the best new Volkswagen Vento. Volkswagen. Here's to you. the fearless. To the men and women, here's to you all. Live big with the all-new Samsung Galaxy C9 Pro.
Give me more. I think it will be about time that customers will have to ask restaurants, please, what happened? I love this restaurant because you gave me 5 extra pieces of fries or you gave me 2 extra pieces of chicken. Whatever happened to your portion size? I'm not going to come back here.
Precisely.
Don't you think it's going to be, that's what's going to happen?
Big challenge because people are, in India, people don't order a portion size thinking themselves that I'm going to have alone.
Yeah.
Like, unlike abroad, if I had a friend from Russia or in Europe and they would say, I've ordered my portion of pasta. What are you ordering for? Unlike that in India, we share, okay, if I've ordered a pasta, I'm going to share with everyone. Same thing is if you have ordered something, we share it. It's not
indigenous food. That's what we try at Namaskari. We do that here.
Yeah, what do you do? How do you do
We make food for individual person. For example, you want to come and dine, that food is for you. And there is another gentleman or lady with you, there's food for her. So it's not sharing meal. It's not that I preconceive that you may eat 4 more pieces of chicken and I may eat 2 pieces. But what happens? I may take 2 and then I have to order something.
How do you decide how much a person can eat?
Generally, a person cannot eat more than 280 grams. That's how we are, including if there is a starch or something.
Right.
So, and if we are eating amongst courses, we also want to have a soup. We maybe want to have a salad.
Yes.
So then that whole thing gets balanced, and we. Again, this all comes to us, we as individuals, what we want to do. And the hotels and restaurants have been always trying to get something in for them. But it's people who have to decide. They still want to eat 1 kilo of chicken biryani, it's up to them. I mean, nobody can stop them.
At our place, all our guys, even my service staff or kitchen staff, they are conscious. They don't like to see food wastage. So everybody is trained. When people are ordering, when someone comes to a restaurant for the first time, they don't know what the portion size actually is. Yeah, somewhere there'll be pictures, but depending on what the dish is. So we, including me and the staff, we make sure to tell people, you may be ordering too much right now. Don't order.
Right.
And people do appreciate that.
Yes.
They say, nobody, everywhere they push us to order more.
Correct.
So that is again an important thing where, that's a good way to
advise your customers. I think that's a better way to do it.
Yeah.
But I don't think so. There is a wastage there at all. There is wastage only
you know
in
what?
the buffet system.
I'm sure, like you said, customers are intelligent. People, self-awareness you spoke about. I think we're all aware. At least, I think, and over here, educated and uneducated is not the point of conversation. We are talking about anybody, right? Food is precious to anyone, and we all know it.
You are paying a price for the food that you're eating in a restaurant.
Correct. So if I'm going to a particular restaurant, if I've visited that place already once before, I already know that the portion sizes are big. So I will remind my friends, you know what, the rice here, the fried rice is really big. We all can share it. Let's order just 1 starter or 1. And even that, if is wastage, we'd still pack it up.
Yes.
So why
There's
should
no
somebody
wastage
tell
there at
us?
all.
Yeah, you're saying
So
there's no wastage
It's about
at all.
the chain and it's about bigger functions.
So
It's
you
about-
what? So like he said, you're shooting the arrow in the dark, the wrong side.
The target are the wrong people.
Yes.
Madam,
it's a wrong target for you.
The state should not intervene in the personal matters of food and sex. They should keep off.
I agree.
They can create a
Yes, I also
culture of
agree.
saving, like Dr. Venkat Reddy rightly pointed out. See, it is a behavioral change that if you say Indians should stop spitting from today at 5 o'clock, band ho jaye. No, it will not happen.
It will not happen.
It is practical. It's not practical.
Let me practical. So we need to do the behavioral changes takes time.
Yeah.
But Indians are a saving kind in terms of food, anything that is they would like to reuse.
Yes,
My
yes,
mother-in-law
yes.
wouldn't even throw the milk packets. So they are not known for that kind
You're
of
very
wasting.
true. Yeah.
Very
Indians
utilitarian. We always
we
think
save.
of,
We save in every.
we save things. I'm sorry. But what is the responsibility of a state? So here it's a question of pure, example of right remedy, wrong remedy, for the malady. So it's a mismatch, a total mismatch.
Yeah.
So what the state can do, they have to inculcate the culture. They have to build the. Last year, Government of India sold 10 million tons of wheat while there is hunger and malnutrition in the country as cattle feed abroad. 10 million tons of wheat. So you think of this, so where do you really need to focus on? And if you look at, it's the state which is responsible for largely, if you look at Dr. Gopalan, the former director of ICMR always used to say, if you have more food in the godown, it is an index of empty stomachs. The state has
but still some buffer stock is required.
No, but
10% buffer stock is required to say the unforeseen conditions.
There is a buffer which seasonally changes. But I'm saying, see, we had 68 million tons of food grain. Last year it is not the case. But historically, India always had godown full but empty stomach.
4 years back, Supreme Court gave a judgment to distribute the food grain stored in the Food Corporation of India, where bandicoots and birds are eating away.
That's what I'm saying. Our storage system is not
at all.
Adequate or
if we
is
follow
not
things
fit.
right, I don't think there is any problem.
Accredited warehouses.
It's all about the chain.
Accredited warehouses are very, very rare in India.
Yeah.
So almost 20% of the grains are wasted in the storage itself. Come to the marriages where.
You were showing a couple of pictures. I would like the camera to zoom in a little bit on those photographs. If you can show me some photographs that you've taken.
See, for example,
personally.
Here the food wasted in the marriages where catering is done by the parents of the groom or the bride.
Right.
If you give it to the caterer, they serve very, very limited food not to waste because it is lost to the caterer.
Okay.
On the other hand, if I myself celebrate the marriage with cooking of food, the suppliers, the child who eats how much, simply they will be dumping on the plate and this is the result.
Correct.
So basically, if
flip the page, sir.
Suppose if the same thing is given to the caterer, he knows how much it costs, what is the loss. They serve twice, thrice. So this habit, among this, maybe a very simple thing. Suppliers should be trained how much to serve in each plate, go for the second time, third serving, not dumping at once and wasting food.
Right.
Do you think the diners will take it if he says, I want another 1 spoon?
Definitely, even a second serving, sir, you want second time.
She just now said that she wants to take her plate full.
And
if she wants it,
but I would do that in a buffet system. But if
he's only talking about buffet.
No, not when I have to go serve it myself.
Correct.
Like if the buffet is laid out there and I have to go serve, I'll put all of that on my plate. But if, like he said, like a caterer serving, somebody's coming and serving me, he'll make sure that he put only those portion sizes.
Yeah.
But I will put extra because I don't know portion sizes.
It's not about those 5 things which you're eating in your plate. It's about another 50 things which are in the buffet.
And rules for feeding a guest.
Yes.
Come on.
Absolutely. It is not
the way.
Okay,
so back to the no law, create a sense of pride, create awareness. That is where it should go. I think repeatedly keeps coming back to that.
Restaurant owners here, 3 of you, if this law comes into place, what will be the difference? What will be the pain or gain here?
It will be pain to the restaurant.
For us at Gangotri, we are already serving in per person, per portion size. So it's like I hardly find people wasting it. First thing. Second thing is I hardly find people sharing it. So it's like what is served is being consumed by individuals. And when I'm going to a restaurant, there we usually order because it's being paid by us from our money. So we don't want to waste food. So I personally feel it's a wrong target.
Work a target. And like we said,
that's about
top restaurants, hotels. That way, if you really look at it, dhabas and these,
there is no wastage.
There's a lot more wastage. But then the food minister very clearly said, we're not talking about dhabas and all those places.
Why?
We're only talking about top restaurants. That is very clearly saying dhabas that serves thalis and all, we're not going to.
You know what will happen?
Doesn't make sense
so what does that really make? I don't know.
The food inspector.
But the intention is great. We don't want to waste food. Fine, awesome. But is this the right target?
No, but you see, inspector would walk in every month and collect money for bigger portion size. And when somebody when they wanted to have a millennium baby, Ponappa had written a cartoon. Just go to a corporation and get a birth certificate. So you will have a millennium baby. So you will have an Inspector Raj, you will have a CCTV, you will have a monitoring system. The depth of privacy.
Yes.
That's a dangerous thing.
Sir, not only privacy, it is the root cause for corruption in the government.
Absolutely.
They will harass. So instead, say you give ads in the we have recommended some 5-6 measures to be initiated without making it legal option. So for example,
so more self-awareness.
Create say special mass media awareness campaign.
Right.
Programs to sensitize the people on food management right from household level is required.
Right.
Government to involve some NGOs. And special ads and messages through TV and radios. Introducing food wastage in minimization curriculum in the schools at the
correct. Absolutely.
So by that at the age of young age they can learn not to waste the food. Legislation restrict the number of items served. Not
that also is a problem.
But already Jammu and
now
Kashmir.
we're in a country where we're so diverse as a country.
So
we have so many different castes, religion, all of that. At a function, you'd want to have you want to have Chinese, South Indian, North Indian. You want to have contemporary Italian, Mexican, what not? Chart. So how can you really regulate that? Tell me.
In the 1960s, you would see the paper headlines: 2 bags of paddy seized. We had
that was
but not now. Let's not get into that kind of thing. It's an open market. People have to be culturally changed, behavioral changes, and all that. Then this, in Europe, it is more wastage than loss. He rightly interpreted. Loss is when the food doesn't reach from farm to godown.
Correct.
There's less loss there, but there is too much wastage. In the Europe, 25% of fruits and vegetables are wasted just because they are not of the right size and shape.
Sir, in India,
this is called unshaped, unsized food that doesn't fit into machine, and it is thrown out. A potato that doesn't fit into the machine for a chips is thrown out. Is wasted. In the modern, so-called modern technological value-added processing and all that, there also this can happen. This crime can go on.
That is you are talking of Europe. You come to India, Karnataka, this modern retail formats, chain stores. 18 to 20% of the fruits and vegetables are wasted in the final retail outlets alone. Say for example, I will go and pick 2 tomatoes, I will waste 5 tomatoes. To pick 1 mango, I will damage 3 mangoes.
Correct.
Total wastage of food is fruit, vegetable, everything is a food. We are making so much of waste. 18 to 20%. Already research estimates are there. Address to these issues. Then you talk of something
about
else.
restricting restaurant
So provide
portion
better
sizes.
logistics handling, scientific
and
handling.
now about when you talk about portion sizes, let's talk about a little bit about nutrition. How do you really give a portion where it is also it will fulfill all your nutritious value?
I tell you, nobody will eat keeping nutrition in mind. That's why FA was very clear. Never go from nutrition to food. It is always from food, enjoyment, culture, eating to nutrition. Don't catch hold of the nutrients. See, when somebody is eating, who will think of the calorific value? They say, if you are eating something and if nobody is watching, it has no calorie.
Absolutely. I totally agree to that.
I love that. I totally love that.
There's a small disagreement there.
Please.
So, see, I'm in the health food industry, right? So, what happened? We started 4 years ago. From then to now, in the past 2 years, I'm seeing consciousness grow.
But nutrition,
people are interested.
I can tell you that, like the legality, even nutritionism cannot be what you call a dictatorship.
No.
In food.
It definitely shouldn't be a dictatorship.
No, but I'm saying as hotel and restaurant, you yourself will have some sense of responsibility to ensure that no matter how fattening the food is, there should be some sort of nutritious value.
In that case, the target should be chain restaurants like McDonald's and all, right?
I'll tell you a few jargons in the nutrition side. Nutrition, daily value, portion size, recommended daily value, calorific value, nutrient density. Who is thinking about all these when you're eating food?
But like she rightly said, you know what, for a daily person,
Sir,
See, that's a
honestly,
different
for me,
education, and when you learn it, you eat it without being aware of.
Mr. Dr.
Sir.
Raghu, for me, I would while during work, I'm like, okay, you know what, I'm not tired and I'm not, I'm fit, right? I'm quite alert and I've eaten a little bit in the morning. So for lunch, I want to eat something healthy and I'm clear about it. And for me, nutrition value is first in my head. I want something that is nutrition, filling and not fattening whatsoever. But then towards the end of the day, when I'm really tired, exhausted, I think of Chinese food dancing in my head. And at that time, I don't think of nutrition.
When
So
you
for me,
talk
it's
about
different
food
intervals,
trends, Madam, healthy
but like you
food is
said,
healthy eating
awareness is being created. But I'd like to know in the portion size, how much of nutrition also
I have one
do you
point-
actually round
one
up?
point
Sir,
to make.
I'll get your point after a short break. Usha Rao from Banshankari calling in. Please do stay online. After a short break, we'll be right back.
9 to 5 job, अरे 5 to 9 job, भाग दौड़ all the time job. The roaming wala job, the deadline wala job, or are you living in the market wala job?
Life is full of options. Choose a job and earn on your own terms. Choose to become an LIC agent. It's more than a job. It's career insurance. Be your own boss. Be an LIC agent. Ab life set hai.
New Baldwin International Residential School with well-planned and maintained campus spread over 25 acres. Swimming pool, yoga, meditation, horse riding, outdoor and indoor sports activities with specialized coaches. Separate hostels for boys and girls with hygienic environment and food. We offer ICSE, CBSE and IGCSE syllabus from 1st to 10th standard. The PU College provides specialized coaching for PUC and PU Plus competitive courses. For admissions, visit us today. Empowering the next generation.
I want this.
Sure. Listen, I think I forgot my wallet. Yeah, right.
Dude, this works here also?
Yeah.
Introducing the revolutionary Samsung Pay. It's simple, secure, and works almost everywhere.
Welcome back. Let's quickly take in a caller. Usha Rao calling in from Banshankari. Go on, Usha.
Yes, good evening. You know, the intention of the government is laudable as it is meant to prevent wastage of food, which is a major problem in our country where millions go to bed hungry every night as they can't even afford 2 square meals a day.
Right.
But in my opinion, food censoring will solve the problem only to a very limited extent. Because, you know, when people go to a restaurant, you can't prevent them from eating the quantity they want to by serving them fixed portions.
Correct.
True, a lot of food is wasted in hotels and restaurants where people order a lot of food and are not able to consume it fully. I think introducing the buy-two system all over India is a good idea. In our own state, the buy-two system has been in vogue for ages now, you know. Instead of a full portion, hoteliers can offer a half plate of every dish. I think the customer can order one more half plate if he so wishes, instead of ordering a huge portion and, you know, wasting it later. I think the Consumer Affairs Minister, Mr. Ramvilas Pasma, has suggested that restaurants should mention the quantity of each serving, either in grams or number of pieces, accordingly, on their menu. I think this is a very valid suggestion. He has also said that they do not want to regulate these issues, you know, by making a law or by making it binding on the restaurant. But I think same time, what the government needs to do is to create awareness among people by sustained campaigns to make people aware that wasting food is almost a sin, as food is wasted not just in restaurants, but even in marriages and other celebrations, you know. Therefore, I think the onus lies on the citizens too, that they order judicially when they eat at restaurants and go by the menu card, which in most restaurants clearly mention the number of persons served by a particular portion of food, you know. So the government and the citizens should join hands instead of being at loggerheads to prevent wastage of food.
Nobody is being at loggerheads here. In fact, the rule is not even implemented in the first place. But we're definitely trying to deliberate if this is the solution to food wastage. Coming up with a regulation on restaurants and hotels, that too top-end restaurant and hotels, not the Darshinis, not the dhabas. All of that is spared, but only the top-end ones that actually do as much as possible to save food, because like Chef Nimish said, restaurants, the more food they waste, the more money that they're wasting. So the more food they save, they ensure that
that's why they're targeting only a small
correct, which is actually time wasted, isn't it? They can use their governance and their time, precious time, for something a lot more impactful than coming up with regulating restaurants, top restaurants and hotels with their portion sizes. That's what we find a little.
That's why I'm saying you should create awareness.
Absolutely. So where is the awareness created? We have,
Madam,
when none of that is done, coming up with a state regulation with our food minister saying that be prepared restaurants, you will be getting a regulation
less food
soon.
Less food is wasted in restaurants. Less food is wasted in restaurants because it costs to them. Mainly it is in celebrations, birthday, marriage day, the other day, this day,
Correct.
where somebody hosts, if they don't pay from their nose.
Celebrations is where food is actually
major
wasted.
food is wasted.
And storage, when the supply chain.
Supply chain.
So they should.
Thank you, Ms. Usha. Yeah. On a final note, as we come to a close, Dr. Raghu, on fine, nobody else has done it. Let's create awareness ourselves. Let's begin.
First step started today.
Yeah, let's start it today.
Absolutely, the food wastage is a serious issue because it is creating normally we say a kg of rice is about 2,000 to 3,000 liters of water, soil, nutrients, sweat and all that, and then you just down the drain and create a garbage around Bangalore city, 5,000 tons of garbage creation. That is much of it is raw waste. 20-30% is raw waste, food and all that. So that way it is a serious issue. It has to be considered. But you should not miss the wood for trees. What is the problem? How do you do it? There are ways, there are large, you see, they say, look at the wholesale problem first before coming to retail repair.
Right.
Large scale problems, you have massive, humongous problem before your eyes. Please pay attention to that. Create an infrastructure and then come to, create a culture of even, you see, in Rajasthan now, one of the DC is paying 2,000 rupees for every household to use toilets. I'm saying, so incentivization and the encouraging and education, all that. So that should happen rather than the state has no business to interfere in my food, what I order, how I eat, what I do at home, in my bedroom, in my kitchen. The state has no business.
Okay, they have no business.
No business.
Absolutely, I think very well said. It's more about being self-aware. Raj, as a restaurant owner, how would you take it up as a responsibility on your own? Do you actually intend and tell your staff and your customers that, or even without saying, I think a message is sent out without words. You can, without actually spelling it out, you can tell them that we don't encourage food wastage. Do you encourage that culture at all?
Well, in our restaurant in Jaipur, we had put up a very small note over there that what little food you waste on your plate will invite a donation from you for Gift Your Organ Foundation. So that is the awareness where we are saying that if you are wasting, you are paying more for it.
Pay more money.
Pay more money for that. So we have tried our best to encourage people not to waste food. And people are not wasting food really because they also are aware that whatever food they waste, they have already paid for it and they are paying for it.
Correct.
Madam, who pays is secondary, madam. If the food is wasted in the hotel, again we are eating it. Do you know how? That food is carried to a piggery in it. We eat pork. The food I waste in the hotel. Normally there is a chain to collect the food wastage in the hotel system. It is there throughout Bangalore. So what we waste, at least in the hotels, coming back to me. Not in the marriages, not in the birthdays.
He's absolutely right.
So that.
Can you say that again?
Yes, madam. It is recycled and we are eating again.
That's just. This sounds gross. It's like saying you're eating your own shit. I'm sorry. That's pretty much what you just said.
We are eating a back. Recycle is done. It is not really waste in the hotel chain, sir. At least we should thankful the hotel industry for sparing this to the piggery farmers in and around Bangalore. It is happening. And at least wasted at one stage, reused at the other stage.
Okay, yeah. Okay, never mind. Yeah, okay, fine. It's, I like I said, I heard it as you're eating your own shit. That's what I heard it as. Nimish, your take finally on what do you think if this rule is implemented? Does it?
I don't think so. We would go any
further.
But yes, if we control on our supply chains and we have more awareness, and there has to be compliance on awareness, and things would be getting better. And we always, I mean, from last, as I said some time back, from 5 years to now and probably coming next 5 years, we would see, because none of us wants to waste food.
Yeah.
Whatever we earn, we buy that, and we don't want to shell a penny out of it.
Absolutely.
So
we'd actually at home, we'd even try to use that tomato which is half, rotten. You still cut it off and use the rest of it as much as possible.
So even in hotels, they don't do that, because then becomes commercial viability there. So I don't think so there is any wastage per se there.
How do you deal with waste food at your hotel? A quick word.
We have very less wastage. We only buy things what we want for that day.
But I'm sure, I mean, okay, fine, food on the plate and all of that is just in the bin, right?
Food on the plate is mostly finished by my runners. As I said, I make it only for one person.
Yeah.
We don't make mass food.
Right.
So it is...
If it happens.
It does not happen. If it happens, the guest takes it away.
Wow, you've nailed the formula right then. Brilliant.
Yes.
That's brilliant. That's why you're the top chef. Quick note.
Thank you.
I mean, everybody is talking about how it shouldn't be a rule and awareness and stuff. Also, as I previously said, maybe it would be nice if the government and also all of us, we focus on how to make sure the food goes and it's eaten by someone. And when I say someone, I don't just mean humans. There are also a lot of starving animals. So somewhere, as long as the food, because there is, as they said, there's so much sweat and blood from the farmer, the whole chain, there's so much of work going into that, small portion of rice or the few vegetables, and even more so if it's meat or milk. Correct. Because then effort in the grains, and
Correct.
then the grain gets fed to the cow, and then it goes. One is, it would be good to consciously make an effort to make sure that the food goes once it's cooked, if there is a wastage. At the restaurant level, avoid wastage. Train your staff to not, to tell people not to order too much, or
advise your staff should be well trained. Other than that, if you
they
have
should care
wastage, how
about
do you
it,
deal with
not just train.
How do you deal with your wastage?
Like I said, we barely have wastage. We really have, if there's food, I mean, our portion sizes are pretty big. We mean it to be that way, because our food is, we use very less oil and stuff, so we want them to feel nice and full by the end of the meal. We hound our customers to take it. Please parcel it. If there's anything left, take it away. And of course, controlling them from doing it. But ultimately, yes, if, we are also working towards getting a kindness fridge.
Right.
To avoid that, but ultimately, yes, if there is food left over, it does go into the bin, and that gets taken to a biogas plant.
Nice. Okay.
Where electricity is produced. But I mean, that's a different.
Well, then you don't have much choice with that.
Oh yeah. So avoiding it is the most important.
On a quick note,
Madam, if at all government wants to bring legislation, it should bring against the government itself. Government is the first culprit. They are wasting, they have not created infrastructure in the supply chain, and government is the root cause for wastage of 1 lakh rupees, 1 lakh crores worth of food in the supply chain. First, let them address to that.
Absolutely.
Second, coming to the public functions, let them create a food bank wherein surplus food cooked can be spared to somebody who is in need of maybe orphanage or something.
Absolutely.
Where is some link is to be provided.
I think that's something that we all know how to do.
I would like to add one small thing, that self-governance is more important than government governance.
Absolutely. You heard that self-governance is more important than government governing you, and here it more seems like more government and less governance here, like Dr. Raghu said. Well, you heard it. Self-awareness. If you really know that you're ordering extra or you're cooking extra, you really know what to do with that wasted food, because like you said, the stats say 400 crore worth food is being wasted, and there are probably 4 lakh people going hungry, starving, dying out of starvation. You can do a lot. It's all in your hands. Maybe not the government doesn't necessarily need to decide on what you eat, but you can decide for what you eat and how much you save and how much you waste. And if you waste it, you know who to give it to. Thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned for more news and updates on the other side.